Welcome, and welcome back to another video. We all know that it is very easy for us to judge someone based on their character, how they speak, how they behave, and how they deal with problems. It is easy to make these assumptions. But most of the time, the judgments we make are not always correct. Sometimes, we think about another person in a certain way, believing they are either good or bad. But later, we realize that they are not as good as they seemed or not as bad as they appeared. So, the judgments we make are not always correct. However, to deal with people, to be with people, and to build relationships with them, we need to understand them. Somehow, we need to have a good idea of who a person truly is. But understanding someone takes a very long time. In today's video, I am going to share some valuable insights from the Buddha, lessons he preached about how to make judgments, how to predict a person's character, and how to truly understand someone. The Buddha explained this in a sutra in the Anguttara Nikaya. The Buddha says that by living together with a person, their virtue can be known, and this too, only after a long time, not casually. It requires close attention, not without attention, and it can only be known by one who is wise, not by one who is foolish. Now, what does the Buddha mean by this? If you want to understand someone's virtue, their moral values, and their ethical behaviors, you need to take time to observe them. You cannot just look at a person and judge them based on their actions or behavior at a given moment. The Buddha emphasizes that virtue can only be known after a long time and not casually. So, what the Buddha invites all of us to do is to take our time. When you deal with a person, when you spend time with them, when you live together with them, you will begin to understand their true nature, how trustworthy they are and how they behave. But, again, this takes time. What the Buddha teaches us here is not to be hasty in making judgments about a person. The Buddha further advises us to pay close attention. If you do not observe carefully, you may not be able to understand a person's true nature. He also says that a person's virtues can only be known by someone who is wise, not by someone who is foolish. This means that you must be wise in order to accurately assess a person's character. Additionally, the Buddha states that by having dealings with a person, their integrity can be known. This too, only after a long time, not casually, by close attention, not without attention, and by one who is wise, not by one who is foolish. The Buddha speaks about integrity, about how faithful, loyal, and trustworthy a person is. But again, you can only understand this after a very long time. Another important point the Buddha makes is regarding adversity. He explains that in times of misfortune, a person's fortitude and patience can be known. And this too, only after a long time. How do we judge someone's patience? We can only see their true patience when they experience misfortune, when they go through adversities, and when they face difficult times in their lives. Only then can we understand how patient they are, how much they have practiced patience, and how much courage and resilience they possess. But, as with everything else, this also takes time. It is not easy for any of us to understand a person in a short period of time. You may think, okay, I understand this person, but often, that assumption is incorrect. The human mind is incredibly complex, making it difficult to truly understand people. That is why the Buddha stated that the difference between animals and humans is that animals express their mistakes and weaknesses openly, whereas humans tend to conceal them. The Buddha himself acknowledged that dealing with humans is difficult because they hide their weaknesses, making them hard to understand. So, what the Buddha means by this sutra is that you cannot judge a person casually. You have to take your time. You need to be patient. You must cultivate a mindset of deep understanding to truly grasp who a person is. The Buddha also teaches us how to judge a person's wisdom. He says that by engaging in conversation, a person's wisdom can be known. But, again, this can only be done after a long time, not casually. It requires close attention, not inattentiveness, and it must be done by one who is wise, not by one who is foolish. So, how do we understand someone's wisdom? How do we assess how wise they are? The answer is through conversation, deep, meaningful conversations about life, about experiences, and about values. But just as with everything else, understanding a person's wisdom requires time. Sometimes, people who appear wise and good are not always as good as they seem. Appearances can be deceiving. I hope you now have a clearer idea of how to judge and understand a person's character. To conclude this video, I would like to share a wonderful quote by Mrs. Du Santat. She says, "It is easy to judge. It is more difficult to understand. Understanding requires compassion, patience, and a willingness to believe that good hearts sometimes choose poor methods." Through judging, we separate. Through understanding, we grow. With this in mind, I encourage all of you not to be too quick to judge someone. Do not judge a book by its cover. Take the time to truly understand people. Take care, and see you in the next video.